Seville, Yankeeville. Welcome everyone back to the YouTube channel if you're returning, and if you're new here, at the end of the video, if you like it, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. But it's David here, and let's get into the video. Jasson Dominguez has been finally called back up to the Yankees. It's a very big deal. As far as Jasson Dominguez, obviously he started the season down in AAA. A lot of people disagreed with him starting in AAA, as he did have a productive rookie season up in the bigs last year. So it was definitely tough to see him start the season in AAA. But overall, it was good for his development, as we saw some very positive things come out of his stint in AAA. So with Jasson Dominguez back on the roster, it's definitely a question of how the Yankees are going to utilize him and get him the proper amount of at-bats and utility, whether he's going to be in the outfield or he's going to be covering DH, as it looks like Giancarlo Stanton is going to be on the IL with some lower leg injuries. I believe it's his calf, but we're definitely going to see it. But as far as in 2026 so far, Jasson Dominguez through 24 games has hit .326, 3 home runs, 15 RBIs, 18 stolen bases, the .893 OPS. So in AAA, he's definitely performed, hitting over 300, hitting for a little power, and he's even stolen a few bases. So with Jasson Dominguez back on the big league roster, it's a matter of how he's going to be used, whether it's in the outfield or whether it's going to be at DH. It kind of depends, because it looks like Giancarlo Stanton is going to be on the IL. He did have a lower body injury. I believe it was his calf. It hasn't been announced yet of him going on the IL or not, but that's what the signs really point to. So we really need to have Jasson Dominguez in the lineup as much as possible, so his development continues up here as well. But in 2026 so far, through 24 games in AAA, he's had .326, 3 home runs, 15 RBIs, 8 stolen bases with a .893 OPS. So he's had a really good year so far in AAA, and it's been really good to see him, perform out there. Granted, it is only 24 games, but Jasson Dominguez, we know he can hit. That's the part of his game that we haven't had much concerns about, besides him hitting left-handed pitching. But overall, he was able to perform at an above average rate already in his rookie season, so that was never the concern. But when it comes to left-handed pitching, obviously that was one of the main concerns. He has had 18 out of 92 at-bats in AAA, and he's hit .389 with 1 home run, 2 RBIs, 2 strikeouts with the .1172 OPS. So he has been performing against left-handed pitchers, granted in a small sample size, only 18 at-bats. But it does indicate a very positive regard for his development against the left-handed pitching. So granted, like I said, only 18 at-bats and overall only at a 92 at-bat sample size, but it is a very good positive indicator. So we definitely want to see Jasson Dominguez continue that, as he is in a big league roster. Now, when it comes to Jasson Dominguez, overall his time is now. He's 23 years old, and let's be honest, we really need to have Jasson Dominguez and our top prospects continue to develop and make it to the big league roster and stay on the big league roster as much as possible. Other teams do it. They bring their big league guys up, or their big prospects up, and they never go back down. With the Yankees, over time, we've played the game of bring them up, send them down, bring them up, send them down, bring them up, send them down. And then when we do bring them up, we don't play them every day, and then we wonder why they don't perform. So when it comes to the Yankees, we do have to make sure Jasson Dominguez is in the lineup as much as possible so that he can continue the development. Now, he needs a fair shot. Like I said, he needs to play either left field, center field, DH. He needs to fill in those positions. We need to give him a fair shot so he continues to hit. Because if he comes up here and he rides the bench or plays every other day or every 3 days, what's the point of calling him up? You're just hindering his development, and he could have been playing every single day in AAA. If we're really worried about the development and have him get at-bats and reps in the outfield, the only way to do that is to put him in the lineup. Now, what will be Jasson Dominguez's role on the roster? I think he's going to be DH. As far as the lineup for tonight against the Rangers, he is slotted in as DH, so the Yankees are probably going to play him a lot at DH. Hopefully he does get some games out in the outfield, whether that's left field, I doubt they're going to put him in center field, but we're definitely going to see him in left field and DH. We definitely want to see him get as many at-bats as possible, as many reps in the outfield, but it looks like he's going to be one of those two positions. I mean, Jasson Dominguez, you don't have to worry about his bat in the lineup, and we're definitely going to see how he performs coming into this next game against the Rangers, or this next series against the Rangers. Now, when it comes to Jasson Dominguez, he's been knocking on the door since the season started, and to be honest, the noise with Trent Grisham is only getting louder. Trent Grisham has underperformed at this point through almost 30 games of the season, and Trent Grisham looks like he's regressed back to the old Trent Grisham of old times. As we all know, Trent Grisham had a really good year last year. I called it a Cinderella year, let's be honest. You look at all his years in the big leagues, he's never touched those kind of numbers that he had last year. Over 30 home runs, he drove in a lot of runs. Granted, the batting average was on the lower end, but he was very, very productive. So Trent Grisham this year, at this point, he's hitting 160 with 4 home runs and 16 RBIs with a 663 OPS and an 85 OPS plus. Is the time ticking on him being an everyday player in the outfield? I think it is. I think Aaron Boone and the organization has really made an effort this year to not leaving guys in there to just rot, to just stink up the place. I mean, at this point, Ryan McMahon hasn't become an everyday player anymore. He's been basically every other day, every 3 days. He's been replaced with Ahmed Rosario because Ahmed Rosario has been performing. Granted, Ryan McMahon has still been getting a good amount of at-bats as he has started to perform a little better, but there was at one point where I believe Ahmed Rosario started like 3 or 4 games straight at third base, granted against left-handed pitching and some against right-handed pitching. So when it comes to not performing, we really have to have a short leash when it comes to these guys that are underperforming. Hitting 160 through 30 games is unacceptable. We need to see some production, and Trent Grisham, I'm sorry, but the time is ticking. You're on a 1-year contract, $22 million, and a lot of people feel like he shouldn't even gotten that contract. Obviously, his market wasn't what it was, and I guess he really wanted to stay here in New York, but $22 million for a guy that's hitting 160 at this point is unacceptable. So Jasson Dominguez hopefully does apply a little more pressure, and if he doesn't perform, put Jasson Dominguez in there, man. Put him in there. Put him in left field, put Cody in center, and then let it ride out. Trent Grisham, you can play as a defensive replacement, or you can play every 3 days, every 4 days to kind of rotate the outfield. But right now, Trent Grisham, in all honesty, shouldn't be an everyday player with the way that he's hitting in the lineup. That is just my 2 cents on it, and I'm sure a lot of other people feel the same way. Now, when it comes to a little bit about Trent Grisham and further on, the youth movement is incoming. It really is. Whether that's George Lombard, we have Dax Kilby, we have Spencer Jones, Jasson Dominguez, we have all the new pitchers that are starting to come up the pipeline, Carlos Legrand, Elmer Rodriguez. All those guys are coming, and all those guys are knocking on the door. They're going to be cheap contracts. These guys are very hungry. They want to prove themselves. And if you're not performing at the big league level, there's another guy in AAA that's ready to play. So I think overall the Yankees have to have a youth movement and a youth forward way of thinking when it comes to some of these guys that are not performing. If there's a guy performing down in AAA, we want to give him a shot, because if we have a young player that's going to perform, what's the point? What's the point of having a guy that's underperforming on the roster when we have someone that's hungry and wants to play like a Jasson Dominguez? So overall, I think Jasson Dominguez being up here, he needs to stay and he needs to play. Jasson Dominguez was not a touted prospect for no reason. The man was named the Martian. The man has immense hype, and we've definitely seen glimpses of it, and we want to see it in a long-term fashion. A long-term fashion as being on the big league roster for a full season, having a consistent role, and having a lot of at-bats and reps in the outfield. But let me know what you think down below. Are you excited to see Jasson Dominguez back on the big league roster? How do you feel about Trent Grisham so far in the outfield? And overall, how do you feel about some of the other younger guys that are coming up? But let me know down below. But thank you for tuning into the video. Welcome to the Ville, Yankeeville.